You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. Always love talking quarterbacks. Love when we can do it with Aaron Murray, former Georgia great. He's on Twitter at AaronMurray11. Of course, Sirius XM is where you'll find him. He's good enough to join us now. Aaron, we appreciate you, man. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just how are you guys doing without our boy T-Bob? I mean, like, what's those late night shows going to look like without the craziness of, I don't know, whatever we call T-Bob at midnight after LSU games?
It's a lot quieter in the building. It's less odoriferous around the third floor bathroom. Say that much.
Yes. There we go.
Not sure what midnight, Saturday night, Sunday morning's really going to look like this year. But we know it'll be a lot different, and there won't be inflatable pigs. I know that much. I'm certain of at this point, Aaron.
Oh, I mean, there's nothing better than getting him to do my show, our show Snaps directly after drinking and smoking cigars with you for 2 hours. So you think you had the best of T-Bob? I really had the best of T-Bob right after that.
Did you ever get hit in the face with a battery pack from an inflatable pig that he had just molested?
Oh God, I did not.
Yeah, I got you beat. You want to go? You want to go? You want to go?
This is true.
You want to go?
This is true.
I know.
Oh, I do not. At least I was. I could turn my camera off and end the show whenever I wanted to.
You had a buffer. You had a digital buffer. Hey, we were just talking about your Heisman odds before you came on, and we're talking about Nuss. And look, it makes sense, right? I mean, good stats, good teams. You're usually there in New York. I saw you tweeted earlier in the week about that you thought Nuss would have the best stats for the 2025 season, but you thought the best pro prospect in college football is actually Drew Allar. Why?
I just think Drew. I mean, I think they both are check off a lot of boxes. So I mean, it's just the list was 4 really good quarterbacks. I think all have the potential to be first round draft picks in the NFL, but. I really love Drew's game from a year ago, and I know there's a lot of bad taste in a lot of people's mouths after that bowl game or the playoff game where he played really bad. There's no doubt about it. He did not have a good game at all. But if you look at the entire season of Drew and his ability to push the ball down the field, big kid, big arm, he's athletic, it can make all the throws you want. That was with an offense that really didn't have any weapons besides the tight end. I mean, at Penn State, that finally made some upgrades and are trying to improve that position heading into the season to give him some more support on the outside. But you go back and watch the tape, no one was getting open besides that big tight end. And it was very difficult for him to go out there and make plays consistently with that, but he did. So I saw a lot of really good stuff from him a year ago, take away that playoff game. So I love both of them. I love all of the 4 in the list, Lenoris as well, and then Klubnik, who – I wasn't a big fan of Klubnik. 2 years ago, did not think that Cade was much of improvement over DJU when they did make the switch. And, that was kind of true first game of the season last year as well. That first game versus Georgia did not look good at all, was late on throws, had a couple opportunities, hit some explosives down the field, and just could not get the ball out of his hands. And then, kind of from there, just gained confidence week after week. So you look at him and his team, what they have coming back, have some receivers, have an offensive line, defense should be much improved. I think Cade's due for a big year and a guy that I would pick as kind of my favorite for the Heisman. And I think Garrett's going to be in the conversation as well. I just think it depends on, how far does LSU go? Like I'm very confident that Clemson's going to win the ACC. Yeah. Clemson has a chance to win a national championship. I think LSU's a playoff team. And if they are, Garrett will most likely be in New York.
I think everybody knows, like, you played 4 seasons at Georgia. This is only Garrett's you were there 5 years, obviously, after the redshirt, played 4 seasons.
Yep.
It's the same with Garrett, but this is only his second year as a starter. Aaron, when did you feel comfortable? Right? I guess I'm trying to say, for Garrett now going into his second year as a starter, but his 5th year on campus, how would you gauge that based on your experience?
Well, yeah, remember, too, he took over after a Heisman champion winner, and Jaden, too. So, like, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of eyeballs on him. And it's not just Jaden, but it's, Joe Burrow before that as well. So it's like, all right, I'm taking over this it's over the past 5 years, two guys that have won the Heisman Trophy, two guys I got picked, one or two in the NFL draft, two starters in the NFL, and now I got to go out there and kind of continue this tradition of what LSU's been offensively and what LSU's been at the quarterback position. So I think that's a lot to handle too mentally, to kind of carry that torch and move on. And that was with, a new offensive coordinator last year as well. I know he's, been in the building and similar offense, but still, that relationship had to build. So I think heading into year two, there is a lot more confidence. I think now it's kind of, it's a year to say, hey, this is my team. And now you get another off season to continue to kind of create some separation from the Jaden and, him win the Heisman. I think there has been, and I think there will continue to be a lot of confidence in Garrett as a quarterback. But, we'll go back to your original question of how long it took. Listen, there's a big jump for me from year one to year two when it comes to just confidence of playing in this league, in the SEC, being able to make the throws week in and week out. But I would say like the third, fourth year that you're in the system, which, he's been in the system for quite some time, is when you really take ownership of the offense, when you can have complete command of all the checks, of getting the offense in the right position, auto-bowling at the line of scrimmage. So, I anticipate yes, confidence for him, but also that knowledge of his offense and going out there and taking it to another level.
Aaron Murray's our guest. Give him on Twitter, X, at Aaron Murray 11. If I gave you one quarterback in the SEC, not long term, I mean, just as they are right now for this season, to go play you're drafting of the 16. You get to pick one for this year. Who would you take?
I would take DJ. If you told me that he wasn't going to get hurt all year, I would take DJ Lagway. Probably is my number one. I think he is by far the most gifted quarterback in this league. He's got the size. I think he's got it between the ears. He has the ability to make every throw you want. He's got the athleticism. Because you can go down the list. Love Garrett, love his ability to throw the football. Not as good of an athlete. Love Lenoris and his running ability. I think Lenoris is a good thrower. I don't think he's as fluid of a thrower as DJ. I've said on this channel with Hester, just kind of my hesitations right now, obviously with Arch there at Texas, is going to have a great team around him, but, he needs to go out there and prove it to me week in and week out that he could be elite. So I think if there was a guy in this league that, has what it takes to be a first-round draft pick that checks off every single box, I think it's DJ. And honestly, I'm excited to see what Florida can do this year. I think it's a good team. It's a team that obviously finished the season off extremely strong. I think there's some pressure that has been relieved, surrounding Billy Napier. And I do think you have one of the premier quarterbacks. I would say, to me, the most gifted quarterback in the country. He's obviously got to go out there and do it. But, man, I love his skill set. And like I said, I had an opportunity to sit down with him a year ago before his first game in Kentucky. I had that game and get to know him a little bit, and just great character, great human being, hard worker, and hoping that he can stay healthy and get the job done.
Do you know who you have week one yet?
Who do I have week one? I got two games. I got Missouri Thursday night, and I'm actually going to Oklahoma on Saturday. That's two really, man. LSU plays Oklahoma at the end of the season, Aaron, but it's two really interesting teams because both have big expectations, but both have massive questions. Like OU, I look at the schedule, Aaron, and I go, tell me how they get to 7. But everyone seems really high on the quarterback coming in from Washington State and Arbuckle coming in as well. Like, where do you fall on the Sooners? Yeah, I listen. Oklahoma has a ton of talent. There's no doubt about it. And I love the quarterback. I think you go back to what he did at Washington State a year ago. Athletic, can throw the football. Obviously, coming in with his OC, so he's going to know the playbook. It wasn't a quarterback problem though a year ago for Oklahoma. It was everything else. It was, you're on your 7th receiver. Your entire offensive line's banged up. Because I think Arnold's a good quarterback. Like, I think Arnold has an opportunity at Auburn to go out there and have a good season with those receivers and that offensive line, to have some success and kind of, I saw enough flashes early on the season, before all hell broke loose with the skill guys around him. But, I say this to Oklahoma fans. I was on a show a couple weeks ago. I was like, Oklahoma has equivalent talent to LSU, to maybe not far off from Texas and, maybe not far off from Alabama and Georgia. They've recruited at a really high level. But let me ask you this. Where would you rank Brent Venables as a head coach in this league? When all things are even and you have to go to the coaching matchup, where is he in the SEC? And I would say he's middle of the pack. He's somewhere around 8 to 10 when you come to ranking coaches in this league. So at the end of the day, you can have a ton of talent. And this is the big thing for Penn State this year as well in the Big Ten. Penn State had a lot of talent a year ago. Penn State's had talent. Maybe not as much as Michigan, but they've had a lot of talent. And yes, they're maybe they return the most and have Drew and got some receivers and they got the great running backs and the defense will be good. But at the end of the day, can James Franklin get it done? Has he proven it? I don't know yet. So I think, to me, that's the same question I have with Oklahoma. I know they're going to be talented, but Brent Venables is not as good as a coach as 6 or 7 other teams in this league that have the same kind of talent. So until he kind of gets out of it and proves that he can win some of these big-time games in this league, I have my doubts about Oklahoma and their success as well.
Aaron, before you go, thought on Brian Kelly, the expectation on him this season with the amount of talent he has on the roster?
Yeah, I love Brian Kelly, and I know there's probably different feelings there in Baton Rouge than kind of what I have, but I've covered you guys a bunch over the past couple of years, and I still believe he's one of the top coaches in America. Probably somewhere. I had him at top 5 after before last season. Maybe dropped a little bit, but I try to remind people what he took over, a roster of 35, 36 guys. Had to be rebuilt and had to be rebuilt in a big way on the defensive side of the football. So I think to me, Baker's second season at DC, the defense is going to be better. Perkins and Weeks and if you go on and on, I think that side of the football should be better. And I think you're going to have one of the premier offenses, even with a rebuilt offensive line, you're going to have one of the premier offenses, not only in the SEC, but in the country with Garrett and those receivers. So I think this is a year where you're starting to kind of fully put together what the roster is going to look like. Year 4, not just the offense, but the defense as well. So to me, if there was a dark horse in the SEC, it would be LSU, because you go down the list. It's like Georgia, Alabama, Texas. Probably tier 1, but still a lot of questions at the quarterback position. LSU, Florida, South Carolina have quarterbacks, maybe not as many 4 and 5 stars around them, but had the quarterbacks. And of those 3, I would say in that tier 2, I have more faith in Garrett Nussmeier and LSU of those 3. So if there was someone that could challenge maybe kind of the big boys, to me, it would be LSU this year.
Has T-Bob got you up to Chicago yet?
No, he is not. Maybe if I get a game up there close by, I'll stop by and say, hey, but he does look like he's thriving at the moment.
It fits. He had the Cajun Cannon up there with him.
I saw that.
Telling old War Daddy stories, man. You get the cannon rolling on those 1980s NFL War Daddy stories. I mean, dudes with crooked fingers and just concussions left and right, just puking and going right back in. I mean, they were a different breed, man, but that's fun as hell to hear that stuff.
Yes, T-Bob is definitely he's definitely where he belongs. That is for sure. So I think, he was, because we had the same agent. We were talking about this the other day, and I was like, T-Bob knows more ball than anyone else in that building. Plus, he's as crazy and entertaining as any of them. So that combination, I was like, my only issue and worry, and probably this, just as cause what we started the show about, is just making sure he doesn't drink himself to death. That is my only worry with T-Bob and his success in life. Is T-Bob is where he should be, and he should run that whole damn place as long as his liver doesn't fail.
I think he's kind of like I don't know, man. He's almost like Frankenstein. He's a lab-made mutant. I don't get it, Aaron, but one thing I'll tell you I've never worried about is T-Bob showing up the next day. It could be 3 in the morning and he's on stage doing Jaeger shots, doing karaoke. I'm like, 7 a.m., he's going to be in the chair doing a show. I just know he is. I never worry about it.
Yeah, but we are getting old, though. We are getting old. We start creeping towards that 40 number. It's going to slow down eventually, but maybe T-Bob is just a freak of nature.
He's got good genes. But we shouldn't say that out loud or people might get upset.
Yeah, don't do that.
Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
See you, brother.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.